Hi, welcome to Rev Sports. You're tuning in for the post-match show. I've got Gargi, Bharat, and Shomik joining us for the show here. A dominating win by the Indian team. We've been speaking about this that the Indians haven't given out a dominating performance, but finally, I think we can all say that it's been just the best and possibly a very, very dominating performance. Bharat, what do we say? I mean, there's not much to say actually because this is just a purely Indian game. You have Shubman Gill, Jaiswal dominated, and the Zimbabwe team had no answers actually.
Yeah, first of all, I guess Zimbabwe didn't get enough runs on the board. That was definitely not a 152 pitch. I think you needed 200 on that pitch to be competitive. Once they got 152, the conditions today were better than compared to the first game where it seemed like the track was a tad slower. Today was definitely a flat pitch where you needed to get 200. So Zimbabwe don't have the batting, and obviously after that, Jaiswal played really well. He's someone who has that sheer hunger for runs. I think that is the main point you notice about Jaiswal. He leave technique, everything else. But even if you go back to 2022 season when he scored a lot of runs in
Yeah.
Ranji Trophy, 21-22 season, he's someone who has that great temperament, has a sheer hunger for runs, and we saw that. He just wants to accumulate runs. He's not going to get 20 of 15 balls and get out. If he's going to get a start, we expect him to get those big scores. And Jaiswal actually helped Gill, I would say, because the kind of start he had, Gill was on some 22 of 21 or 17 balls. Because of him, I think Gill could just pace his
Hmm.
innings, and after that, he also took over. So, timely innings for Gill, but I would say he has to thank Jaiswal for playing the way he did, because of which Gill could just pace his innings, and
Yes,
after
absolutely.
I got to 50.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think there's a slight network issue there. I think we're back on. Gagi, Jaiswal's innings, just top class. Again, a youngster coming off really good. A lot of talk was about Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli leaving, but I think the future seems in secure hands.
I mean, yes, I think we knew that a long time ago. When he first had that incredible season in the IPL. I think 2-3 years ago when he absolutely dominated his opening spot in Rajasthan Royals, and he was batting aggressively, and that was something that we hadn't seen in the Indian
Hmm.
cricket circuit for quite some time because we hadn't really got a very aggressive opener. But when Yashasvi Jaiswal came in, it was a breath of fresh air, and the way that he translated those performances not just into international cricket but also in all formats. We saw him batting the same way in Test cricket, in ODIs, and now in T20s as well. So it's really a great find. And today's innings, when we talk about it, look at his strike rate. I mean, opening with that strike rate in T20s is something that is,
175.
yeah, 175 exactly. That is something that is desired by everyone when you're picking an opener. Even though I think by the end, Shubman Gill took too much of the strike and wasn't letting Yashashvi hit when it was Yashashvi who was actually the aggressor in the innings. But it's all right. He got us the run, so it's all okay. But Yashashvi really, when he goes on to that field, he really is in control of his innings, and we've seen that against quality attacks as well. So you can't really make an excuse here that it was Zimbabwe or it was a weak bowling attack. But yeah, his batting has been incredible, and like you said, a very very bright future ahead.
Very, very bright future ahead. And I think, yes, the Indian team will be extremely happy finding these finds. Jaiswal, Abhishek Sharma, all of them are looking good, Nick. Shomik, Shubman Gill, I think, has proved everyone wrong in a way because, he started off like probably not in the best fashion. He took some time out in the middle, but then eventually, as the innings progressed, he really kicked into another gear, which is good to see. That's what you want. It seems like he played the perfect anchor role initially and then played the aggressor's role. So good to see from Shubman Gill.
Yeah, Ishan, the way SSC has been batting today, Shubman's role was to play second fiddle, and he did that to perfection. I mean, basically, he was from the other end, he was enjoying the show. And see, this is going to be India's opening pair going ahead as far as T20 cricket is concerned. With Rohit and Virat now, they have hung up their T20I boots. So Shubman and Yashasvi will open going ahead. And
Yeah.
I mean, Zimbabwe bowling on this pitch was always going to be bread and butter for both Yashasvi and Shubman. But the confidence, and also I like the fact that when Yashasvi was approaching his 100, there was not an effort to give him more strike. It was normal. It was the way it was coming, because this Indian team have long stopped playing for personal milestone, which is a very heartening shift. And Shubman played his part, but Yashasvi was the star of the show.
Yeah. Bharat, there's still some questions and, some comments which are being passed that Gill should bat at number three. Do you think he should possibly still bat at number three, or is this the opening pair for the future of Indian cricket?
Yeah, we have already talked about it. I don't think India will change though. At least in this series, at least even the last game, you definitely see Gill batting at the top slot, because with VVS Lakshman as the coach. Even in the under 19 World Cup, we have seen it before. He goes as per a typical pecking order selection thoughts. So in the future too, I think they're looking at Gill as a kind of opener. But I would like to see someone like Jaiswal bat at the top alongside Abhishek Sharma or something like that, because right from the start
Yeah.
can take advantage of the power play. But in India, somehow it feels like India want to see Shubman Gill as an all format player. So I think
Hmm.
he will be the mix right at the top. That's at least I'm saying it from their point of view. The selectors' point
Yeah.
of view, the thinkers' point of view, it feels like Gill will bat at the top alongside Jaiswal.
Yes. Yeah. Gagi, it's still a bit unfortunate. There's still some comments, as you can see here. The comments say that Gill has been selfish, but in my opinion, I think he's played a good knock. Obviously it's a team sport. Jaiswal would have liked to get his 100, but I think Gill played according to the innings that was, set out for him. What do you have to make of that innings? Do you think it was a selfish knock by any way, or it's just what was required at that time?
No, it did not look like a selfish knock, because everyone's just trying to get runs for India, and they were trying to win it. And if the ball is, if he's hitting well, why would he give the strike to Yashasvi knowing that he's hitting well? It's not that he does it on purpose, right? It just happens when you're batting. If you're hitting well, if you're hitting boundaries, it's not your fault, right? If Shubman is hitting a lot of boundaries, it's not his fault. Uh, what should you
Yeah.
do? Defend on purpose and give Yashasvi the strike? I mean, that's something you don't do. You want to get as many
Mhm.
runs as possible, as quickly as possible, and that's just what Shubman Gill was doing, honestly. And his shots were connecting. He was looking in full swing. So I don't think he was doing anything selfish. And there's no such thing as snatching someone's century or whatever, because there's no such thing, honestly. How do you even do that? Because everyone
Yeah.
knows, like Shok also said, that even though Gill uh, played till the end, it was Yashasvi who was the star of the innings, and everyone will know that. Even the management sitting there will know that. It's not like if Yashasvi doesn't get his 100, doesn't make his knock any less special. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shomik, the
Ishan,
Zimbabwe.
Ishan,
Yeah.
I would like to add one more thing here. The fans will have to change their mindset. See, Indian team has moved on from that milestone obsessed thought process, and the fans will have to do that. Players will play as per situation. They will take things as they come. It's not about someone getting 100 or a half century or a 5 wicket haul, stuff like that. They will approach the victory target the way they feel it is the best. So the fans will have to be, Indian fans too are a bit milestone obsessed, and the fans will have to change their mindset.
Yep.
Rohit
Deepati.
Sharma and Rahul Dravid have shown them the way.
Absolutely, Shamik. Absolutely. You couldn't be more right. Bharat, the Zimbabwe team will be completely dejected after that first win. They're having a hard time coming back into the series now. How does this team regroup? Obviously, Sikandar Raza seems like an animated captain, an animated player. He wants better for his team, but it's seeming difficult for them. So, what would be the solution here? Do they regroup? Do they take the learnings from this game and come back stronger? How do they do that?
I think the only solution is to go back to the kind of pitch they prepared in the first match. They have to bring their bowlers into play and prepare a sort of two-page deck on a flat pitch. I don't think they have any chance because that batsman can't get 200. This was definitely not a 151 pitch. They needed at least 200 to really challenge India in these conditions. Once they got 151, it was basically match over because India have too strong a batting lineup. I think they have to somehow the won. You look at even the T20 World Cup, how USA won against Pakistan because there was something in that pitch, little bit at least in that pitch, though it was in Florida. There's little bit in that pitch. They got the chance to restrict Pakistan to 151, and that went to super over and they won. So the best way a weaker team can challenge a stronger team is if there's something in it for the bowlers, and obviously their bowling is slightly stronger than their batting lineup. So I think the only solution in the fifth match
Hmm.
is to prepare a pitch which has something in it for the bowlers, and that is when they have a slightly better chance of winning. On a flat pitch, I
Yeah.
don't think they have any chance of even challenging India.
Yes, and Gagi, I think when you see Zimbabwe versus India, we would like to see a contest at the same time. So I think a lot of fans who support cricket would want to see the Zimbabwe team put up a fight. Do you think they still stand a chance here? Like how Bharat said, if they go back to preparing that sort of wicket, do you feel that they might stand a chance, or is India way too into this series now, and probably they won't give another game to Zimbabwe?
Yeah, no, it's not happening. India is too strong a side, and it's not the fact that I think it has a lot to do with how much cricket is played in India.
Yeah,
You've got a full-fledged, very, very competitive and quality domestic structure where, the best of talents play, best of India play. All these, international cricketers will go back and play for their domestic teams as well. Then we have the IPL. And of course, there are plenty of bilaterals that are being played as well. And Zimbabwe simply doesn't get as many matches to practice or even build that sort of
yeah.
quality that India has or any other top nation would have. So you can't even blame them for that. And at this point, I don't think India will be giving away this series because that first match I think was a very freakish match. It was
Would
a
you call
very
it a fluke? Would you call it a fluke, or would that be too harsh?
No, I think India lost that match. I think a lot went wrong, and in the way that everyone approached that game, I think that's where they went a bit wrong, because maybe they went
Yeah,
in thinking, oh, it's Zimbabwe, and they sort of let it loose a little bit, but that was a good wake up call for everyone, and they thought, no, we need to get on top of our game, but no, at this point it's India's game. Honestly, tomorrow if India doesn't dominate, it would be surprising. Honestly,
hmm.
I'll just add a point.
yeah,
I don't think you can call any
Yeah,
victory as look. I don't agree with that.
yeah,
Zimbabwe played well, and I have to give it to them. On that day, they played better. As I said, only 10. If they have 10% chance, there's 10% chance of putting India under a little bit of pressure. It is when their bowlers come into play, and for that they need something in the pitch to put Indian batters under some pressure on flat pitch. Don't stand even 10% chance of, I think, upsetting India.
yeah. Thanks,
yeah.
Bharat.
That's what I said.
Shomik,
I'm
a
not
lot
saying
of
it's a fluke. I'm saying India lost that game.
yeah.
As in, it was India's game to win, but they absolutely lost it there.
Yes. Shomik, Tushar Deshpande's debut. Are you convinced with the bowling performance? He was under some pressure early on, went for some runs in the first 2 overs.
Yeah,
Average
yeah.
performance or a good performance?
It was a bit nervy to start with, which you can expect. I mean, he was making his international debut. How much you have played IPL or whatever? International cricket is international cricket, whether it is against Zimbabwe or any other team. And he was a bit nervy to start with. Um, Basically see, but then again it was good to see because he did a lot of hard work and he has earned his cap. So from that
Hmm.
point of view it was good to see him, and he has bowled his heart out in first class cricket, in T20 cricket, at domestic level. He is a domestic thoroughbred, so it was well deserved, and we should keep it at that. We shouldn't dissect too much as far as his bowling is concerned. It was just his first game, and it was good to see he was returning with his maiden T20 wicket also.
Yes, absolutely. Bharat, Khalil Ahmad, we have to speak about him as well. What did you make of that performance? Again, are you happy to see him perform the way that he did, or can he do better? What are some of the shortcomings, if there were any?
See, Khalil Ahmad as a bowler is always someone I think you will get some good things out of him, and so sometimes it's not. It's like he's a bit wayward. So it's always a bit of mixture, right? And today at 32 for 4 overs, he bowled reasonably well. You know he has the skills. He hits the pitch hard. He has good pace. He swings it a little bit. He has a lot of good qualities, but there's always a little bit of mixture in his bowling. Yeah, today it went well for him, but there are times when he's
Hmm.
really wavered and goes for say 50 runs in 4 overs. He's been playing for quite a while, right? See, he has been with the Indian team even 5 years ago or something like that. He was with the Indian Eliminator squad. So somewhere by now, Khalil Ahmad should have really improved. He's the kind of
Yeah.
bowler who have even gone on to play Test cricket for India by now. If he had really worked hard on his bowling, that's what I'm saying, because he's a left-arm bowler, and India is a left-arm bowler, and he has good pace. But yeah, it's good performance. But I think he needs to do a lot more to convince the selectors that he can get into the main 11 in the Midwest cricket.
Yes, yes. Gagi, the big question for the next game will be, should we stick with Tushar Deshpande or should we get Harshad Rana? But if you don't stick with Tushar Deshpande, it's going to be a dent on his confidence. Which way do you see this going? Has he done enough for him to get another game? Would you give him
Yeah.
another game at this moment?
I mean, if you've already given him a debut, it would only make sense to give him another game. Of course, that would be, at this point, whatever you do, it will be unfair on someone, and that's one of the biggest, most difficult tasks to deal with in Indian cricket, because you just have so many incredible players that I
Yes.
mean, I don't know about them, but I personally don't know who to give chances to, because everyone is doing well. But Tushar Deshpande was a tad bit expensive today, and I don't know. It's been a trend with him in IPL as well. He does give away a lot of runs, but he gets you those breakthroughs as well. But he deserves that spot as much as anyone else. Of course, you don't
Yeah.
easily get your debut, so him being there it does mean something. And if they drop him just after one game and base any what do you call it, measure him of just one game in international cricket, then it will be very unfair. But on the
Yeah.
same at the same time, not giving Harshit Rana any game time, that would be unfair as well. So at this point, Indian management will have to pick which unfair they want to go with.
You're right, Gagi. I think Tushar deserves another game, but like we mentioned earlier, like Bharat has also said that Harshad Rana seems like a better bowler. That's what I feel as personally as well. So maybe he should get an opportunity, but maybe Tushar Deshpande deserves another game definitely. Shamik, I was seeing a post the other day, Washington Sundar. A lot of talks about him possibly being a permanent fixture in this side because with Jadeja, obviously retiring, he has a big opportunity here. Talk about Washington Sundar. Obviously, nothing to really discuss in the game today, but what he can bring to the side in the future.
See, Ishan, Indian team management and the selectors also, they rate Washington Sundar highly. I mean, Washi was almost there as far as the T20 World Cup squad is concerned. They seriously thought about including him as an off-spin all-rounder, but in the end, he missed out. But everybody knows what he brings to the table. He was a bit unfortunate not to get games that impact player rules, stuff like that in the IPL, but he is quality. And going ahead, as you rightly mentioned, with Ravindra Jadeja is now retired from this format of the game, Washington Sundar provides you with an option who can bat, who can bowl tight off spin. He can also use the new ball inside the power play. He is a good fielder and he has got a very good game awareness also. And as we have seen in Test cricket at the Gabba, the way he handled pressure, he is someone who has risen through the ranks in Tamil Nadu cricket, and he knows how to handle pressure. He is a very positive player, and Indian cricket rates him. So going ahead, we'll see a lot of Washington Sundar in this format.
Yeah, 100%, Shamik. I think great opportunity for him as well to stand up, to deliver, and make himself a permanent fixture in the side. Bharat Shivam Dubey bowled a couple of overs again today. Is he looking convincing enough for you? He got that wicket for sure, but do you think he can get wickets against better sides? If he's playing a South Africa and Australia, would you bowl him against those sides? That's the biggest question here.
I think he's a batter who bowls a little bit. That's what I would look at him. I don't think he's a full-fledged all-rounder as such. Yeah, in Ranji Trophy, at his very best, we looked at least decent. That was around 10, 12 months ago when I watched him once. But he's basically a batter who can give you 1 over or 2 overs at max. So I don't think he's a full-fledged all-rounder as such. Maybe they're looking at someone like Nitish coming to the ranks. He's a little bit more in him. He can swing the ball a little bit. Even when Pat Cummins asked him to hit the deck hard, he tried his best. Obviously, he's not made for that, but he tried his best. So, but I'm not too sure Shivam Dubey is an all-rounder. Just wanted to add one point on Washington
Sure.
Sundar. If there is something that goes against him, I'm not too sure about his hitting ability coming right down the order. He's good at taking singles, hitting a boundary here or there. But if in the last over you need 17 runs like we saw in the first game, I'm not very sure he can get to sixes. That's something
Yeah.
is gone against him in the IPL. In T20 format, I'm saying somewhere it feels like Washington Sundar is best suited for at least at present. For the longer formats, somewhere if India really want a utility cricketer, even going to Australia somewhere, if they really want a utility cricketer, he can really fit in somewhere, even at the maybe at
Yeah.
somewhere around the top of the order, at number 3 or something like that. If they really want a makeshift kind of player, but in T20 cricket, if there is something that goes against him, he really needs to improve his. I think his hitting powers and also game awareness. In that first game, he didn't show
Yeah.
it. He could have easily taken a double or two, which he didn't take it. So yeah, a couple of things, just constructive criticism about of
Yeah.
Washington.
A very valid points, Bharat. I think that's what something I've noticed as well. So I'm glad you brought that up. Very, very valid points, and thank you for bringing that up. I think we discussed all that could have been covered in today's game. Gargi, any final thoughts? Any final comments on the next game that India will face against Zimbabwe before we end the live?
I think it will be interesting to see if there are any changes in the playing 11 because final match of the series and we've already sealed the series. So I don't think they're worried about the win or anything that will happen on its own because India is a quality side. But at this point, I think it would be interesting to see if they go with uh, either someone else like one or two changes or if there are any changes in the batting position. Suppose if because you've seen Yashasvi Jaiswal play quite a lot, maybe Abhishek Sharma gets another chance at the top. That could happen, or
Yeah.
Shubman Gill goes at number 3. Whatever happens, I think it will be interesting to see.
Yeah. Again, interesting point. Yes, I think we can expect some changes maybe because if this team has already seen Jaiswal, like Gagi mentioned, and Gill, so they might make some changes up the order and maybe in that bowling lineup as well. We'll wait and watch. But until then, thank you, Gagi. Thank you, Bharat. Thank you, Shomik. And thank you to the audience as well. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you stay tuned to Rest Post. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you all again tomorrow morning for the 11 a.m. show. Thank you.